God is moving. It's Young People Nation.
Welcome to Young People Nation. Listen to us weekly as we commit to bring transparency, healing, and truth to the everyday situations in life that might bring you down. Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you for listening to Young People Nation. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, here's your host, Eugene and Donna Perry.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Give the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross.
Good day, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening. We just thank you all for joining us for the podcast of Young People Nation. We're joined again today with Mr. Dexter Peggins Jr. Again, this gentleman is very active in his community. He wears many hats. He's a husband, father, pastor. He's a veteran. He's a mentor. He's an author. He sat on several boards and sits on several boards. He works with the Purpose Center, New Leaders Counselors, My Brother's Keeper, and he's just intentional about the community and really being effective for our young men, and we're grateful for him today. And thank you for coming back.
Hey, once again, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yes, we're going to be talking about PTSD, this post-traumatic stress and disorder, get ready to say syndrome, but it's post-traumatic stress disorder. And I looked up from the Mayo Clinic. Now, I know my husband's been diagnosed with PTSD. And again, the disclosure is we're not professionals. We're not clinicians. If you find where you need help, please seek out professional help. Okay? We're just talking about experiences here today. And hopefully these experiences will be able to help someone to go get the help they need. Again, about the post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a mental health condition that's triggered by terrifying events. Now, we kind of talked about some of the terrifying events that my husband encountered in the wars he's been in and in his travel as a veteran. Thank you both for your service to our country. Thank you so much, because people don't know the sacrifice that you all make. Yeah. And so we thank you all so much. But the symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, severe anxiety, which we talked about in our first podcast, as well as uncontrollable thoughts about the events. PTSD symptoms are generally grouped into 4 types: intrusive memories, avoidance, negative changes in thinking and mood, and change in physical and emotional reactions. Okay, you both have served our country. You both have been in the military. You've been to wars. And you've seen some life-changing situations. What was your recognition that you had PTSD?
Well, once again, thank you for the support as well. I was actually diagnosed with PTSD in 2018. Now, the exposure having many years before that, it was just a diagnosis finally came some years later. I'll say this is that when I was coming up through the ranks in the military, things like PTSD, mental health were actually kind of frowned upon. And so it wasn't something that you were encouraged to go seek help concerning.
Okay.
It wasn't until later where, once again, the emphasis became on becoming more resilient and making sure that your mental health was in order. But I'll say this, having 3 combat deployments, I definitely was exposed to a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Some things that I can definitively say changed my outlook on life, even the way that I carry myself out in the world. And so, I remember coming home from my first deployment, I would be driving and I would swerve out of the way of trash in the street. And the reason was because when I was in Iraq, they would actually put IEDs, improvised explosive devices, and things as minute as a soda can. You know, and so the psychology, the wiring of the brain is, you know, for the average person, they just say, hey, that's trash in the street. To me, you know, my brain, my thoughts became fixated on, well, no, this is an instrument or tool that can be used to bring me harm or even possibly death. And so for a while, I dealt and suppressed a lot of those things. And it wasn't until later on when we were encouraged to get help for our mental health that I was able to talk about it. And I was encouraged to continue having the conversation and to get the support that I needed to get help in that area.
I know with myself, it's like twofold. I had a neighbor, I call him Donald, and we would have talks and all. He was from Vietnam era, and he told me that he woke up one night and he was strangling his wife. Because he thought he was back in Vietnam, and we were able to talk and calm them down and all, and pretty soon after that, he would go through his therapy and everything. And I was saying to myself, man, that never happened to me, and all like that. And I was like that, and then I wound up going to the Gulf and had some experience over there, and got back. And all of a sudden, I found myself getting up at night, like I was doing guard duty, checking the perimeters, night sweats, and all. And sometimes my wife would see me talking in my sleep or uncontrollable shaking and all. And I said, man, what's going on here? You know, and I didn't think it was nothing unusual. So the guys get around, we talk to each other and everything. He said, yeah, man, I got that too. You know, and I don't know what it is. And you know, and nobody encouraged you to go seek help because that was the unmanly thing to do, and you didn't want that on your records and all like that. Yeah. So you kind of like wing through it. And then as more and more information came out of what the things was going over, I realized that I needed some help with that. So after I got out of service, I was able to get diagnosis of it, and they said I had it. And I said, wow, if everything I said I want to get, I got. And it's not something that you can pull out, kick it out, and it's gone. It can reoccur. There's other avenues that you can go through to try to cope with it, but now that you got it, you can't just say, okay, mind control is gone. No, it could come up anytime. I do not like sitting with my back exposed. People walk up on you real quick. That's a no-no. Loud noises outside, like the 4th of July is the worst, with all the explosions and all going on. And I know my wife constantly tell me that when I'm driving and all, it's okay, calm down. I said, what are you talking about? Well, you kind of like driving a little bit too fast here. I said, I'm not on deployment, nothing like that. I'm okay. She said, I'm just checking with you. She'll check in with me all like that. In the back of my mind, okay, well, did I do that? Am I still here in reality? Because it can't take you places. Sometimes you might see an image, or you might be in a calm area, and it's just for something happened when you was over there, and you could have a flashback before you know it. I know it now, especially when around people speaking foreign languages and all like that. Your senses are hyped up, just like in an instant, and and you look around and everything, they'll be like, calm down. No, I said, calm down. My voice is calm. But in actuality, you have to trust your loved ones around you that you are out of the norm, where you think you are in the norm. Like patience and all, before stoplights and all, people not taking off when they supposed to and all. You just react without thinking. And it's a protected mechanism that everyone has. But now it's hyphened to a different level. And you have to be careful that certain instances that will set you off, where people think cutting you off for something like that is okay, and all of a sudden you on the warpath. You are already in combat mode, where you can really take care of the situation when it wasn't that serious. That's why my wife is the voice of calmness. With
Praise
me,
God for that. That gift.
And she always have my ear. God given her the ability. She has my ear, and when she speak, everything else is like stops, and I hear her voice above everything else, and it keeps me calm. And
thank you, God.
And and the strange thing about it's a syndrome of an event. A dramatic event. You don't have to go to war to have it. No. It can. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember in Hawaii they had this incident where they had a helicopter crash, and so they put people out there that they didn't volunteer for it, but they say, hey, you own this detail, so you had to actually go out there and pick up body parts, and to go out there and pick up body parts and all like that of a human being, and then put them in a bag. Like they're a head of cabbage or something, and you actually could be stressed out from that. You're not mentally capable of handling picking up an arm or leg or eye or head, and then go back and have lunch. I mean, we human beings don't function like that. But the Army and the military life is very insensitive that way. They just give out the orders and you go do it and don't think of the consequences in between.
That's it.
Your mental.
One thing I would like to state, because we were talking on the military perspective, we also have a lot of young people that deal with PTSD.
Yes.
From how they grew up. Seeing your mom killed. Yes. Or your father killed, or something happening. These are PTSD moments for our young people.
Yes.
And have you all experienced any of this with any of the young men, or that you all have talked with? I want to say I talked with a young lady that shared with me her journey and how she recognized she had PTSD. She'd never been in war, but how she grew up and the molestations and the things she encountered in her life. And so now she's getting professional help. And so she doesn't spaz out like she used to. I didn't, and when she came and talked to me, I was honored that she felt comfortable talking to me about that. So when people feel comfortable coming to talk to you about that, to me, that's an honor, because I don't know her and she don't know me. We just was talking about finances. And she began to say, I just feel comfortable that I can share this with you. So what have you all experienced with some of our young men?
Oh man. I worked with young men who've been exposed to family members being murdered, friends being murdered. Have some young men who've even been molested.
That's big too.
And and now they are questioning how that has played out in their life. From that experience.
Yes.
And so much to what you were both saying, no, this is not limited to military experiences. This happens all the time.
Yes.
I actually would not be surprised if more people actually deal with PTSD than the diagnosis suggests.
Yes.
It's just they probably have chalked it up to this is how I am, and choose not to remember that painful experience. But the reality is, I think that there is a multitude of people who have PTSD. It's just not diagnosed.
Yes.
And consequently, I believe in most instances, the trauma probably happened when they were young.
Yes. And then they turn around and get in relationships, and because if you don't get the help, then you're gonna carry that into, what makes a man almost beat his girlfriend or wife halfway to death. I mean, what is really going on within you? Yeah.
I'm familiar with the experience like that. I think this particular person that I know, they attribute it to their inability to defend their mom. When they were younger, when they were seeing their mother being beaten. Wow. And so they assumed that that's how they're supposed to handle themselves as a man. Wow. That was the example that they saw. They saw their mother being defenseless, and they were unable to step in. And so as a result, they handle all of their issues in a manner with violence and stuff like that. So.
Isn't that, oh my goodness. Now, okay, because he saw his mother being beat and he couldn't protect her. Right. He felt that was the norm. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I know I've seen most of the same things. Ooh. The same things coming through life. I know when I was out Youth Challenge, we had a kid there, and he would wake up about 10 o'clock every night screaming and just walking, looking straight ahead, just like he was there in the incident. What happened was his dad would set him on fire so that he would join the gang. And he had the burnt scars all over his body. And I think he started burning them when he was around 10 or 11. And I didn't know that at first. They didn't brief us on it. And he would just get up and be looking straight ahead. And then start screaming and swinging, and we had to hold him down to bring him back to reality. And the insensitivity of the other kids, some laughed, some giggled and all like that because they didn't know his history. And see, once you know the history and you know the circumstances, you can deal with it. And the kid, once we brought him back to reality, he was normal. But once he went to sleep, he was scared to go to sleep because he would hit that mode. He was actually on fire with that. And you never know what personal hell a person go through when they leave work. Yes. Or how they grew up. I had a couple of soldiers of mine. She believed that the normalcy of a relationship between a husband and wife is that they fight. They fight, and then after they fight, they're gonna make love, and that was a normal. And she saw that growing up, that the dad would beat his wife, and they would fight, and then they went and made love, and she thought that was norm. That was a normal, and she did her marriage the same way, and just counseling her and talking with her, we were able to get her some help. So
Thank God.
PTSD is in all forms, and it draws the line nowhere, and it's not a cut and dry cure. You can't wave a stick or knock somebody in the head and all of a sudden you good. It flares its ugly head up at most inopportune times. Everything can be quiet. Everything can be at a certain level of normalcy. And all of a sudden, there it is. And now you got to deal with it.
And that's why it's important. Like, I can tell when he's having a moment. I really, God has helped me to be sensitive to, because I used to be like, what's wrong with you? But you have to become sensitive to who is around you or what's going on. You understand? Also, when you all are talking, we can look back. Our grandparents most likely dealt with PTSD. It just wasn't diagnosed.
Oh, yeah.
Our ancestors go way back. Just the trauma of life when I was listening to you both, I was thinking about that, the different types of PTSD, but I heard the intrusive memories, which are generally the flashbacks, the nightmares, the images, you know, and so that is something. And so you two, again, you all are very intentional with the community and with young men. Have you taken a holistic for yourself, or do you for yourselves? Let me say that.
Yeah, so for myself, definitely still in the area of praying, meditating. Like I said, I've seen a therapist before. That particular therapist wasn't a good fit, but the reality is that I'm a firm advocate of getting the help that you need, and so so I'm still exploring certain avenues myself.
Yes. Okay.
But the bottom line is, you get some help. It's no embarrassment. Once you get the help and talk it out, and whatever method it is that you use, just don't go cold turkey. That's the bottom line.
Okay, well, this is a wrap up. We're going to give out our 988 hotline. Text home to 741-741, free 24/7. That's a crisis counseling hotline. Again, we never know who's listening, so we want to give out these nuggets. So we're about to close this right on up. Mr. Dexter, Mr. Perry, and we're rolling.
I'll just say this. I'll echo what Mr. Perry said. Get the help you need. There's available outlets for you to get the support. If you need it, acknowledge that you need it, and go after it.
Just take the time to find out whether or not your life is living. You're living your life, or you're just existing. This has been Young People Nation. Remember, there is always hope.
Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Give the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross. He the #1 prospect. He the top boss. I was broke, I was empty. He the one that paid the cost. Really thought that I was cool. There was nothing like the savior. Now it's time for the truth. The whole world been waiting. It's Young People Nation. 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 The whole world been waiting. Whatever you going through, I know what he gonna do. Don't matter the circumstance, we going back to the root. Keep going, keep going. Let that seed keep growing. You need peace and we know it. Now it's time to live holy. Young People Nation. You know what time it is. Young People Nation. Get ready, the time is here. Get ready, we vibing here. We about to let God in here. Young People Nation. It's Young People Nation. Yeah, do it for the heavens, you know where we going. Influenced by his love, you know we gotta show it. It's time to put the youth onto what God is doing. Cause I can tell you now, right now, that God is moving. It's Young People Nation.